Hey everybody, another GMG review. Today we're back with Age of Sigmar, Ogor Mawtribes. That's right, it's my favorite Age of Sigmar army. It's time to get down with the thickness and to check out the 3rd edition Battletome for the boys who like to eat. This is the 3rd edition book, obviously, which was kindly sent along as a complimentary review copy by Games Workshop. And we're going to jump in. I did my homework. I marked through, I mean, I'm an imperfect human being. I'm going to miss some things that some other people are going to get, but I went through and tried to mark all of the key changes between this and the previous Battletome. Now, only one new unit in this book. Obviously, there's more effort being made to sort of bring these up to the edition than there is to kind of introduce new units. I don't expect a ton of change, but the streamlining of the way that the two sort of like core armies work, where it's either Beast Riders, or the the Thunderbellies, the Thunder Guts, yeah, there's a keyword for it. Gutbusters, Thunder Guts. I'm like, Thunder Guts. Thunder Guts, ho! The delineation's a little smoother, and you're not having to kind of like give up one to have the other. So first part of the book, it is, how many pages? It's like 100 pages. It's not a big battle tome, but it's not all. It's 104 pages. First half, of course, I like the tagline, lumbering to victory. They are big boys, and as it is a big guy army, of course, some compatibility has been retained for them to be able to hold zones, compete on objectives and stuff like that. There's not like, they don't play a big part in the Mortal Realms because they're kind of just mercenaries. They wander around, they eat, they take over areas, they do battle, and they then finish what they're doing and move on. I wish that was more mechanically shown off, but I'll talk about that a little bit at the end. I think there's some opportunity there, but like they're not like a key race taking part in the Mortal Realms. They don't have like a big leader. There's not like a big like mission for them. They're kind of just doing their thing. And I like that about them. You know, they're always just there. They're always fighting and eating. You can pay them to do things. But they don't have any aspirations to glory. You know, they're not trying to like take over or tell you how you should do things. Of course, Kragnus now included in the book as he was a key release for the Destruction Battletomes. So if you want his rules, they're in here. They're completely the same as they are when they're presented anywhere else. Some stuff that's pretty old. I mean, these Ogre miniatures are, I mean, almost 20 years old now. I think of them as like a newish army, but I think they're like 2004, 2005. They're pushing up on 20 years, and some of these, of course, now in Finecast still, like the Slaughtermaster, who used to be Scrag the Slaughter, he's a special character in Warhammer, and the Butcher are very venerable as far as miniatures go. Although some of these miniatures are some of the nicest fantasy miniatures I think that have ever been made. Like the Maneater collection, the Pirate, the Goldfag is actually in the background there too. He was, again, a special character. And the Ninja, of course, is an absolute classic. All right, Ash, stop going through the color section and getting excited. Go show us what's new. Let's flip over and get there. All right, Allegiance abilities. Not too much new stuff here. Mawtribes are still 6 different tribes. They're basically divided between the Gutbusters and the Beast Claw Raiders. Ravenous Brutes. If a friendly Mawtribe unit is in combat, it's hungry. If it's not, it's if it's out of combat, it's hungry. If it's in combat, it's eating. It's the same exact thing. +2 movement or +2 bravery. Gulping Bites. Now this is across the entire army. Anybody's Gulping Bite that they had as a stat line, it was basically just a single attack on 3s and 3s, no rend, and 1 damage. It's gone. It's just a trait now that all the Ogres have. At the end of the combat phase, roll a dice for each enemy within 3 of any friendly Gutbusters Ogres. On a 4+, they take D3 mortal wounds. So it's only really a bonus for the infantry. I like that. I don't really use Beast Claw Raiders. I like the infantry stuff because I converted over my old army. And it's every unit on a 4+ takes D3 mortal wounds. So the Gulping Bites very rarely did anything. They didn't add a lot. Having the combat phase basically just generate more mortal wounds. That's a big upgrade. And because it's rolling for every unit individually, if you're fighting like a little swarm of characters, or if you're fighting like multiple small units, MSU armies, that it becomes distinctly more powerful. 1 unit of like regular ogres fighting, let's say, like a unit of Blade Lords and a hero and something else, they'll all potentially take mortal wounds. And if you get that 4+ off, you can take like 5 to 7 mortal wounds. That's a lot more damage than like 3 attacks on that unit we're doing before. Might make traits change a little bit. It used to be everybody who was an ogre counted as 2 models. If you had more than a certain number of wounds, counted as 5. Now it's ogres count as 2. If it's a hero that's not a monster, they count as 5 just automatically. And all the monsters count as 10. So that's cool. Trampling charge, basically the same. They've streamlined it a little bit. You roll a dice after you finish your charge, pick an enemy unit within 1 inch. Roll a die for every... roll a die basically equal to your charge roll and the unmodified charge roll, so your banners or your bellovers and stuff don't add to it. And then for every 6+, they take a mortal wound. If the unit has 3 or more models now, which is nice, not 4 or more models, so a basic unit of 3 can do this, you get +1 to the roll, so 5+ base, and if it's a monster, it's a 4+ base. So that's pretty cool. Slight modifications, but it effectively works the same. And your Rhinox units get it too now. And then Grasp of the Everwinter. At the start of the hero phase, roll dice for each enemy unit within 3 of any Bleakscar Raiders. If the roll is equal to or less than the current battle round, the unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. So it gets colder and colder near the Raiders, and they start to like freeze you and you take mortal wounds. Some new monstrous rampages. So Unstoppable Charge, only a Stonehorn can do this. This unit makes a 3d6 move and can pass across enemy units as if they weren't there and could fly. It must finish the move within 3 of enemy units. At the end of the move, roll a dice for each unit passed across. On a 2+, they take D3 mortal wounds. And only a Stonehorn unit that made a charge move in the same phase can carry out this monstrous rampage. So basically, after you've charged, you keep charging 3d6 inches and fly, and you must finish your move within 3 inches of any enemy units. This is a really neat monstrous rampage because you could like charge into something and then go up to 18 inches flying over other things to like get in behind in the back of enemy lines, like attacking stuff. That is it is a crazy powerful ability. Now obviously your base has to fit places, but being able to like get past screens, like just think of like techless screened by like archers and stuff. You could just be like, nope, I don't care. And you, after you charge, you just fly across and get into melee and start biting things. So yeah, that's incredibly cool. And there's no roll to do it to carry it out either. You just do it, and you also do D3 mortal wounds on top of that. And then Chill of the Everwinter, only Thundertusk can do this. And only if they made a charge move. Roll dice for every enemy unit within 1 inch. On a 3+, the strike last effect applies to that unit within the following combat phase. So slow people down. So both unit types have a very cool monstrous rampage they can do. All right, enhancements. So command traits. You've got weirdly 5. I've loved the fact they've gotten off the like D6ing and having to have 6. So this is Gutbusters. Rabble Rouser. Don't take battle check texts for Noblars with an 18 or Holy with an 18. The Gastromancer, you know all your Lore of the Gut magic stuff for your butchers. Deadly Aim, your missile weapons hit on 2s instead of 4s. Killer Rep, get 2 big names for your Tyrant. And then Ex-Mercenary, if your general has this command trait, friendly man-eaters have the battle line battlefield roll. Which is cool, because I think that would, they're 4 wounds, that would make them Galician veterans in this this like season of the pitch battles. In addition, at the start of your hero phase, if the general's in the battlefield, roll dice for each friendly man-eater unit. That is eating. For every 3+, get a command point, and you can only be spent during that turn on commands received by man-eaters. So that's pretty cool. You get like a cool ex-mercenary tyrant whose man-eaters get better and become battle line. I don't think man-eaters are very good still, but but they're not, like with a 5+ save, they're not great, but it's cool they can be battle line, and they have an ability to boost their model count as well, which is kind of cool. All right, your Raiders heroes. Voice of the Avalanche. This general can issue commands to friendly units in the battlefield anywhere, instead of those only wholly within 18 of them. In addition, once per battle, this general can issue a command point with a command point being spent. Sorry, issue a command without a command point being spent. So you've got like a big yell. Beastmaster, Stonehorn hero or Thundertusk hero only. Once per battle, when this general is picked to fight, you can say that it'll dig in their heels. If you do so until the end of the phase, use the top row of the damage table. So basically, you kick the animal and it gets angry and fights better. Touched by the Everwinter, you gain the priest keyword, and if you're already a priest, you know extra prayer. And then Scowl Packmaster, Icebrow Hunter only. When you use this general's Master of Ambush ability, up to 3 Frost Sabers can join this general in ambush instead of 1. And then Artifacts of Power. So your Gutbusters and your Raiders both have separate like things. Gruesome Trophy Rack, add 1 to hit rolls. For attacks made by friendly Gutbusters units wholly within 12 that target heroes or monsters. This one can be really, 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 really good. Having basically free all-out attack with wholly within 12 of your leader. Especially when armies take like lots of little heroes or lots of things count as heroes and have lots of monsters. I got some work done with Gruesome Trophy Rack, especially fighting like Daughters of Cain and a lot of these like small groups of heroes armies. Flask of Stoneheart Blood. Once per battle, you can drink the potion. If you do so, you have a 3+ ward till the end of the phase. A Splatter Cleaver. Pick one of the bear's melee weapons. At the end of the combat phase, if any wounds caused by attacks made with this weapon in that phase were allocated to the enemy units, you can heal D3 wounds. Allocated to each friendly ogre unit wholly within 12. I really like that one. Being able to like put wounds back on units in the ogre army is really cool. The pot lets you do it once per game, but just having your hero basically pick one of their melee weapons and you just, every time you like cause damage, everything nearby heals D3. That could be amazing. And then Fang of Gur, Tyrant only, your Beast Skewer Glaive is rend -3 instead of -1. Your Raiders, Elixir of the Frostworm. Once per battle in your shooting phase, you can pick an enemy within 6 of the bear and roll a dice, 2+ take D6 mortal wounds. Frost Talon Shard Bolts for your Icebrow Hunter. If the unmodified hit roll for an attack with the bear's Hunter's Crossbow is 6, it does D3 mortal wounds in addition to your normal damage. Carveloc's Flank from the Icefall Yeti units wholly within 12 of the bear. At the start of the movement phase, can move an extra 2 inches when they make a normal move. And the Seed of Alvagir for your Stonehorn or Thunderdust heroes. Once per battle, in the charge phase, you can carry out a second Monstrous Rampage with the bear. And it has to be a different one. So, I mean, yeah, there isn't like as obviously a good one as the Splatter Cleaver. I actually don't think any of these are particularly good. I think maybe Arcane Tome is probably going to be better than any of these. The once per battle D6 mortal wounds is kind of cool, maybe, but like I take that as like my second artifact, not my primary, I don't think. But again, I don't play Blue Skull Raiders, somebody might disagree with me. All right, Gut Magic. You've still got most of your original magic available for the Butchers. So Blood Feast is your first one. The spell that's casting 6 and range 18. If you cast it, pick one friendly ogre, it's not a monster. And it's wholly visible. Add one of the weapon units melee weapon attacks until the start of next hero phase. And because you've all lost your Gulping Bite, it doesn't double down for the most part. But I do like that one. It's a cool buff. It's relatively new. You've lost, sorry, 2 of your spells too because there's only 4 instead of 6. A Blubber Grub Stench is a new one. Cast on 5 range 18. If cast until the start of your next hero phase, while the wholly within range of the caster, friendly Rhinox units are treated as monsters for the purpose of trampling charge. That's really handy for your Iron Blaster if you've got one, or your Scrap Launcher, and of course you can use it to give them that 4+ mortal wound charge, which is huge. And for contesting objectives and carrying out monster rampages. So you can do your monster rampages from the core rulebook, because obviously the other 2 are tied to the special unit types. But that's a neat for a 5. You don't get a lot of casts in ogres usually, but I do like that one. Molten Entrails is a casting of 6 and range 18. If cast, pick one friendly Mawtribe's unit wholly within range and visible to the caster. Add +1 damage when used by to the damage characteristic of melee weapons used by their mount. So you can up the mount's attacks. But you have to pick a Mawtribe monster. So that's an interesting one because it kind of assumes you're using a Butcher in an army that has one of your monsters in it, which you don't often, you kind of always go one way or the other. It kind of encourages a mixed army. And then Greasy Deluge is one of the originals. There's the other originals are on the profiles of the wizards. It's cast 6 and range 18. If successfully cast, pick an enemy unit wholly within range and visible. Subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made by this unit until the start of your next hero phase. So Deluge basically works the same. Entrails, Blubber Grub Stench, and Blood Feast are all new. You've lost a couple others like Rib Cracker and Bone Cracker, I think, those 2. But you've kept the Maw and I believe Burning Fire Cloak on the Firebelly as well. And then Lore of the Sun Eater for the Firebelly. Billowing Ashes is basically the same. Wholly within 12, you must want to hit. Tongues of Flame, cast on 6, range 18. If cast, pick an enemy unit that is has 5 or more models in range visible to the caster. Until the start of your next hero phase, each time the unit finishes a move, it suffers D3 mortal wounds. Fiery Whirlwind casts on 6 and has a range of 12. You can pick an enemy unit and roll a dice for each model in that unit within range invisible. If you only have one model, you roll 3 dice. For every 4+, the unit suffers a mortal wound. There's no cap on that either. That's a crazy spell for a casting cost of 6 and a 4+ mortal wound. You could just have the size of a 60-man goblin unit because, you know, fire. So Billing Lash was kind of the big default back then. Fiery Whirlwind is real nice as an offensive spell, especially if you're fighting a, you know, big 1 wound unit army, or even like Daughters of Cain. Like, there's a bunch of things in there that are pretty great. Tongues of Flame, cast on 6, range 18. If you cast it, pick an enemy unit that has 5 or more models within range invisible until the start of your next hero phase. Each time that unit finishes a move, it suffers D3 mortal wounds. Now, not a normal move, a move. That means pile-ins, charges, normal moves, retreats. Like, that's a move. So unless they FAQ that, it feels like that's a lot of potential mortal wounds. And there's no dice roll. It's just D3 mortal wounds. But it has to be a unit that has 5 more models within range of the caster. So, I mean, it's range 18 inches. That's a pretty low ask, and it doesn't seem like it goes away once it drops below 5 either. It's a bit weird. And it's just a move. It doesn't say normal move, so I'm not 100% sure on that one, but it potentially could be really powerful if they're a unit that's going to, let's say, you know, go next. Right, like you're doing it during your hero phase. If they're gonna charge you, then pile in, then fight, then pile in again, like, this is a lot. Prayer Scriptures. So this is for our riders. Pulverizing Hailstorm. It as answered on 3, range 18. Pick a point in the battlefield within range invisible. Roll dice for every unit within 3, 2+ D3 mortal wounds. So you call it on a comet basically. Keenan Gale. Is answered on 3 and range 18. And then pick a friendly monster, Mournfang, wholly within range invisible. Add 3 to their move until your next hero phase. And Call the Blizzard, range 18, and answered on 3. Pick a unit of Icefall, Yetis, or Frost Sabers. Man, I hate that so many of these abilities are based on models that are just, I mean, the Yetis and Frost Sabers are all fine cast. There's not a lot of them out there. I guess if you built this army early on, you might have them, but not easy to get right now. And then return a slain model to the unit. I wish that affected something that wasn't Yetis and Frost Sabers, because you can just bring models back, but it's pretty cool. And then mount traits for your Stonehorns, Metal Cruncher. At the start of the combat phase, pick a war machine within 3, or 1 enemy unit with a save of 3+ or 2+ within 1, and then take D6 mortal wounds. Belligerent Charger. Charge rolls for this unit of less than 7 are treated as 7. For trampling charge, and then Rockmane Elder, -1 to wound rolls for attacking them. Rockmane Elder just seems like the best one. Rockmane Elder. It's just all the time. You're -1 to wound. Beasts of Alvagar for the Thunder Tusks. Fleshgreed, start of the hero phase. If you're eating, heal D3 wounds. Rhymefrost Tide, 5+ ward, and Matriarch, add 1 to charge rolls for friendly Thunder Tusks, wholly within 12. I mean, 5+ ward. You lost your Seed of Rebirth, and you got it back in Rhymefrost Tide. So why not? All right, 6 tribes. Again, 3 Gutbusters, 3 of the Beast Cloud Raiders. The Meat Fist, Fleshy Stampede. Add 1 to the charge rolls for your Gutbusters. So that's going to be pretty popular. Now, all your units do charge damage on 5+, 4+ if there's 3 or more models, and 3+ for monsters. Oh, no, not for monsters. Actually, never 3+ for monsters. It'd never be 4 better than 4, because it has to be Gutbusters, and they're not monsters. Although you could take a big name and have your Tyrant do it on 3s. Blood Gullet Mawtribe. Friendly Blood Gullet Butchers know 1 extra spell from the Lore of Gut Magic, but you could just know them all. In addition, friendly Blood Gullet Butchers can attempt to cast an extra spell in the hero phase. That's the biggest one. You double your casting, basically, for all your Butchers. So if you're multi-butchering, instead of taking a Fire Belly, they can all cast 2. Underguts. Improve the run of missile weapons by friendly Underguts Lead Belchers and Underguts Iron Blasters by 1. So, yeah, I think Meat Fist will be the most popular probably still, but there's a place for the other 2. Boulder Heads. Add 2 to the wounds characteristic of your Stonehorns and Thunderdusk units. In addition, so basically just +2 wounds all the time, which also means that your damage track gets reduced later. Because it's, oh no, because it's wounds suffered actually. It would do nothing to that. I just realized that, because it's not wounds remaining, it's wounds you've suffered. So that doesn't help. And then you can pick up the 3 Boulderhead Stonehorn heroes or Thunderdusk heroes in your army, and to have different mount traits instead of just 1. So you get 3 mount traits base, which means that one's going to be pretty popular. Just more wounds on everybody, and to like 3 mount traits instead of 1 in the army without it eating up a enhancement. Thunderbellies, friendly Thunderbellies Mournfang packs can run still charge, and then Winterbite, Ghost in the Blizzard. Subtract -1 from hit rolls for attacks made with missile weapons that target your units wholly within your territory. In addition, your Frost Sabers, Icebrow Hunters, and Icefall Yetis are not visible to enemy models more than 12 away. Yeah, Boulderhead's just, I think, better. Just more wounds for all your things, and yeah, you get to take 3 mount traits. Winterbite's neat, but because it only affects Hunters, Frost Sabers, and Yetis, if it affected the mounts, that would be a big deal. And then run and charge for Mournfangs is why you playing big guys then. Path to Glory, I love this one because it's all about the Maw Path. It's about hunting and eating things because, you know, it's the ogres. They want to hunt and eat things. And then going on quests, being mercenaries, building a Noblar shanty town, which I think is fantastic. Or a feasting pit for your butchers and stuff. You get your unique race to ruin and your other battalions you can take. All right, grand strategies. So these are your pre-game picks. Ready for plunder. When the battle ends, you complete it if there are more friendly units wholly within enemy territory than enemy units. You beat everybody up. And then Sage of the Monster Hunter. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if an enemy monster was destroyed by wounds caused by an attack made by your general, and your general's not dead. And then on the Maw Path, when the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if you completed 4 more battle tactics from these ones below. And enough grub for all. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if a Maw Pot in your army is full and you spent that great Maw Pot's magic at least once during the battle. So you managed to refill your Maw Pot. Enough grub's kind of hard to do. Maw Path you maybe could build in. Saga, your general has to be alive. I don't love that one, but Ready for Plunder is pretty great. More enemy than friendly, or more friendly than enemy in the enemy's territory could be a big deal. It depends on the army you place, but I think Ready for Plunder and on the Maw Path are the logical picks. Glory to the Gulping God, eat your fill. You complete this tactic at the start of the combat phase of every friendly ogre unit's eating. That's not the easiest to do, but late game, it could just be a gimme. You know what I mean? If you have 1 or 2 units left and they're all in combat, you just go, eat your fill, and everybody's in combat. And it's the start of the combat phase, too, so it could just be like a freebie, basically, for 2 points. Savor the Taste. You can't pick this battle tactic in the first battle round. You complete this tactic if at the end of your turn, everyone's hungry. So on turn 2, if everyone's out of melee. Again, eat your fill and savor the taste could just be like freebies late game, depending on the state of the table. So I actually really like those. It depends on if it's going well or not, but eat your fill could be hard to get. Savor the Taste, less hard to get because you could have all your guys fall back and just gain it. Avalanche of Flesh, complete this tactic at the end of the turn if 10 or more mortal wounds were caused by trampling charge this turn. So if everybody charged, you need 10 or more mortal wounds. If you double round somebody, Avalanche of Flesh is not a bad pick. Winter Take Thee, pick a enemy hero or enemy monster. Complete this tactic if the enemy unit is destroyed by wounds caused by Grasp of the Emperor Winter battle trait. Let Them Loose. You complete this tactic at the end of the turn if you get 4 more monsters rampages. Again, that one could be very easy to do. Especially if you're playing Beastclaw Raiders, and then Boil Their Bones, pick an enemy hero, enemy monster, complete this tactic if the enemy unit is destroyed within 6 of a great Maw Pot in your army. The Maw Pot, that one's not great. Situationally great, right? But like Eat Your Fill, Savor the Taste, situationally really good. Avalanche of Flesh you're probably going to want to take as well, which means on the Maw Path, I see those 3 and Let Them Loose if you're playing Beastclaw Raiders as being kind of possible, but the problem is if you're not using a mixed army or not taking Beastclaw stuff like I do, then Winter Take Thee and Let Them Loose probably aren't possible, right? So you've only got these 4, then you have to do all 4 of them to get on the Maw Path. That's why the Ready for Plunder is probably the logical pick, because it's just be kill everything in their half of the table and have more guys there, which is probably the one I would pick then. All right, Core Battalions. Unfortunately, they're kind of all Beastclaw Raiders. There's no Gutbusters one. There's a Yorlbad, an Earlbad, a Torbad, and a Junk Mob. These replace the formations that used to be able to take in the old books. They're kind of back in this way. So the Yorlbad is, oh geez, I have to look at the symbols now. A Huskard and a Hunter, like a Sunhunter Beast Rider. And then up to 2 units of Kitties, they get Swift. Earlbad is the same thing, and they can take Slayers, which is alt attack for free. And then Torbad is the same, but you can't take a Frost Lord in it. And they get, I think it's Expert. Yeah, you get a free alt attack or alt defense. Yeah, it's alt attack or alt defense. Slayers is alt attack or unleash hell. And then the Junk Mob gets Slayers, and it's a unit of Noblars and a Scrap Launcher, which I think is kind of cool actually, because the Scrap Launcher got some bonuses for having nearby goblins. All right, we're into Warscrolls. Kragnos. Hey, check him out. He's the same. Tyrant. Now, this is kind of universal. Everybody's melee attacks, if they were 1 inch, went to 2 for the most part. The Bestial Glaive on him went down to 2 from 3, though. And his Rend on his Thunder Mace went up to -2, which is great because it's a 3 damage attack. Other than that, Death Cheater got changed to a 5+ ward as opposed to extra wounds, and Wall Crusher got changed to improve the rend characteristic of its melee weapons by 1 if you're targeting something in cover or garrison. Thunder Mace has an ability now, which is great. It was just the glaive that did before. If the unmodified hit roll for an attack made with Thunder Mace is 6, it does a mortal wound in addition to any damage, and if the target has more than 3 models, it does D3 mortal wounds. It's the old Thunder Mace from Warhammer where it would make a blast template basically and explode guys. I love that. And then Bully the First Degree, it's not a command ability anymore. It's just, if a friendly Ogor Mawtribes unit fails a battle shock test within 3, only 1 model ever flees, which is not immune to battle shock, but you kind of killed somebody to make them immune to battle shock anyway. It just means if you're leading in a big unit of guys, 1 guy flees instead of more than 1, which is cool because you're a low model count army. The Slaughtermaster gained a rend on his stump blades, which is kind of cool, and then his table of Great Cauldron stuff changed a little bit. The Bad Meat just went to a mortal wound from D3. Spine Marrow changed to wound rolls instead of hit rolls, and then Bone Crusher went to a 2+ instead of a 4+ for its damage. Then we got Rock Chomper. It casts on 5 range 18. Pick a unit of Gluttons wholly within range invisible until the start of your next hero phase. Rolls for the Gulping Bites within 3. Do D6 mortal wounds on a 4+ instead of D3. So basically it changes up because it used to be a roll to hit and it was 6s cause mortal wounds. They made it like basically linked to the new ability. Butcher's exactly the same except his Tenderizer and Cleaver went up to 2 inch range. The Blood Pelt Hunter, the new Hunter, is here. This is the same as what was on Warhammer Community, but I'll go over them real fast. Move 6 inches, 8 wounds, 5+8, bravery 8. He's got a crossbow. He kind of replaces the Icebrow Hunter. It's 18 inch range, 2 attacks, 4s and 3s, -1 D3 damage, and then his Impaling Spear is 4+2+, -2 D6 damage. He's not that different. He's got Hidden Predator though. He's not visible if he's in cover, which is kind of cool. Unrelenting Hunter. At the end of your opponent's movement phase, if it's units more than 9 friendly units, it can make a normal move. So basically you can move around during your opponent's movement phase, which is kind of cool. And then Beastbreaker. If the target is a monster, then it's damage 3, and the Impaling Spear is damage 6. So basically it's good at killing monsters. So a different variation on the Icebrow Hunter. I like him a bit more with that hole not being visible and moving in the opponent's movement phase. That could be really useful. Ogre Gluttons, 2 inch range on all their weapons, which is huge. Attacks went up to 4 for paired Ogre Clubs and Blunt Blades, because he used to just be a reroll. And their rend went up by -1 for their Ogre Clubs. The Lookout Banner became a -1 hit for missile weapons instead of like a ward save. And then the Iron Fist, the Musician, and the Champion are all the same. Iron Guts gained an extra rend on their Mighty Bashing weapons. It became -2 instead of -3, which is nice. Down to the Iron Guts also changed. It's once per battle in the combat phase. You can fight again. And if you do so, you can fight for a second time, but you strike last. So if you want once per game, you can fight twice in a round with them, which for an Iron Gut unit is absolutely horrifying. When you really need to dumpster something with your 8-man unit of Iron Guts, letting them fight twice could be absolutely game-changing, and it's not tied to the prerequisite of someone in the army has to have fled, which it was before. So I really like that change, although I think it's going to be oppressive if I get to double round and then can fight twice with my big unit of Iron Guts. There's going to be some moments where there's some feel bad, I think, because of that. And then Gut Guard, it's a 3+ mortal wound, or 3+ shrug, basically, that puts mortal wounds into the Iron Guts if your tyrant's nearby. So logically, your tyrant's going to stand near them. They get to be immune to battle. Well, they're going to lose one model if they fail Battle Shock, as opposed to being immune to Battle Shock, and then they get to shrug his wounds onto them, which is nice because the tyrants tended to die. Man-Eaters, I wish they were great. You can make them battle line now, which is cool with that one trait, but just if they had a 4+ save, man, they'd be amazing. Like, look at the armor's the same. Give them a 4+ save. I think I'd be okay with them if they had a 4+ save. They still have their one-shot guns, 3s and 3s -1 and D3 damage. All their weapons went to 2-inch range like everybody else. And then certain things changed. It went to +1 to wound now for brawlers, opposed to +1 to hit. Crack shot, or sorry, reroll ones actually. Crack shot went to 18-inch range instead of 12 for their guns. And they have a new ability, which is a barrel of meat and the job's done. You can use this command ability at the start of the hero phase. Only your general can issue it, and they must be received by this unit until the end of the turn. Each model in this unit counts as 3 models for objectives. So basically you can up their model count, even though they're typically only against a 3. Gorgers are an extra wound, but other than that, exactly the same. They got Gruesome Devourers. This unit's part of an Ogor Mawtribes army and is eating. Enemies within 9 can't get Rally or Inspiring Presence, because it's just, watching that makes everybody feel bad. Leadbelcher's got the 2-inch melee range. Iron Blaster's got an extra shot on the cannonball, which is nice, and the damage went to D3+3 instead of D6. It's a little more consistent. And the hail shot went to 10 shots, damage 2, which actually I took this thing because I like the model. It actually makes it pretty dangerous at shooting now. Melee range is 2 inches for the clever. I'm pretty into the Iron Blaster's changes because I like the miniature. Now the gun is actually kind of worth it. 2 shots on that that cannonball as well is pretty bad news bears. Scrap Launcher went to 4s to hit, so it's not 3s to hit anymore, and 3s to wound, so it went up to wound. Gained a rend and lost a damage, but the deadly right of scrap now, special rule. The attack characteristic of piles of old scrap is equal to the number of models in the target unit to a maximum of 20. So situationally, it can be really, really good. And then load it up. If it started the shooting phase, pick a friendly Noblar unit within 9 of this unit, so wholly within 9, roll 2d6. If it's less than the number of Noblars in that unit, it gets +1 to hit rolls. So if you just pair it with a unit of Noblars and stand on an objective, you can get a bunch of, like, your home base objective could have like 20 Noblars, there are 10 Noblars even. You roll under that model count and you're hitting on 3s and just raining death at 36 inches. That's a really long range for AOS. If you have a back objective, and the scrap launcher is pretty cheap actually. I think it comes in at War Machines, 145, right? So it's not that expensive, and then a unit of Noblars is 100 for 20. So right, they only come in units of 20. That's right. That's a lot of models to hold the home base objective. And the Noblars are basically the same, except their nasty traps and tricks are a 4+ D3 mortal wounds within 6 as opposed to when someone charges them. But they lost the Horde rule. They lost that plus bonus to hit. Buccaneers are the same. I looked through and didn't see anything different. Man Trappers gained an extra inch of range in his hunting knife. The Frost Lord gained a couple wounds. He's at 15 wounds now with a 3+ save. And he had a condensed wound suffered track. So basically it all got, the bottom fell off of it. So it's up to 5 before he's bracketed. And then he's 12, 6 attacks in the Rock Hard Horns, 2+ crushing hooves. And then goes 6 to 8, 9 to 11, 12+. And the bottom move is 6 inches. Rock Hard Horns is 3 for his attacks. And then crushing hooves is a 4+. Gain Bellowing Voice, and this is across all the heroes. Add 1 to charge rolls for friendly beast claw raiders, wholly within 12. And Stone Skeleton, 5+ ward instead of having damage. So they're old rules, but with changed rules basically. Old rules with changed effects. Sorry, that's what I should have said. And then they gained Frost Spear. If the unmodified wound roll for any attacks with a Frost Spear that targets a hero or monster is 6, subtract 1 from the attack characteristic of their melee weapons until the end of the phase. And you only be affected by it once, but basically you can freeze guys and make them not fight you as hard. Huskard also gained wounds. Also has a condensed damage track, which is the same, but has his Blood Vulture. If you're armed with the Blood Vulture at the start of the shooting phase, pick an enemy unit in the battlefield that's visible on a 2+ take a mortal wound. The unlimited range is the big change there. And then reel him in. If an attack made with a chain trap scores a hit on an enemy monster, if that monster is not destroyed, it's snagged. After the attack has been resolved, roll a die on a 4+, that monster is snagged until the start of your next shooting phase. While a monster is snagged, each time it makes a move, it must finish that move at least as close to the snagged thing as it was at the start. So basically you can't run away. And then Winter's Endurance. It's a prayer with an answer value of 3 and an 18-inch range. If answered, pick a friendly Beast Cloud Raiders wholly within range of visible, and you can heal D3 wounds to them. Winter's Strength is the other one. It's on a 3 and an 18-inch range. Pick a friendly Beast Cloud Raiders unit wholly within range and visible. And at the start of your next hero phase, add one of the wound rolls for your attacks. And then the Thunder Tusk one, it's 15 wounds as well. Also has a condensed wound track. Also has Belling Voice. Also has the Frost Spear rule. Other than that, he's pretty much the same. I didn't notice anything different. Huskard on Thunder Tusk, same as the one on the Stonehorn. So same new rules with Winter's Endurance and Winter's Strength, and reel them in. And then the basic Beast Riders are, again, exactly the same with all the new stuff like a Blood Vulture and a Stone Skeleton. Just the modifications of the rules, and gain wounds as well up to 14. Same with the Thunder Tusk Beast Riders. They keep all the same rules. Blood Vulture, reel them in, Numbing Chill, and Blast of Frost, Reed Ice. Still the same. Icebrow Hunter, he gained 2-inch range on his Culling Club, has Icy Breath. In your shooting phase, you can say that you'll use your Icy Breath instead of attacking with missile weapons. It's just a modification of the rule. If you do so, pick an enemy within 6 and roll a die. 2+, take D3 mortal wounds. That's the big change to the dice roll, not 4 anymore. And then Lead the Scowl. You can use command phase at the start of your charge phase. The command can only be issued to by this unit to Frost Sabers. And you can change 1 die to a 4 instead of re-rolling it. Your Frost Sabers get Hunters in the Frozen Wild. You're not visible when you're in cover. And their Master's Voice is now, don't take Battle Shock tests within 12. It's just a little bit better of an Icebrow Hunter. The range is increased, I believe. Mornfang Packs. So this is cool. Your champion actually gains an attack now, and their Bravery up to 7. They're basically Iron Guts on Mornfangs. He still gets his gun, in addition. The Clubs and Hackers went to 2-inch range, and they've got a Rend, which is nice. And the Tusks on the Mornfangs got 2 damage base. They gained Line Breakers. You're -1 to rune rolls for attacks made by missile weapons all the time against this unit. In addition, if you charge someone, they cannot unleash hell. And they do unleash hell. Those attacks only win on an unmodified wound roll of a 6, which is really cool, actually. It needs 6 to wound them on unleash hell, and -1 to hit is a huge deal. Or -1 to wound, even, sorry. Then your Iron Fist are the same. Yetis gained inch of range. They get a 6+ wards, and they can still run charge if they're wholly within 15 of a Thunder Tusk when they do so. Firebelly's Fire Breath change is now 2s and 3s, no run 1 damage, but the attack characteristic of the Fire Breath is equal to the number of models in the enemy unit to a maximum of 10. And the Cascading Fire Float is cast on 5 and range 3. If cast, roll a dice for each enemy unit within range on a 4+, take D3 mortal wounds, and then he gives a 5+ ward. So he's got a little like nuclear bomb explosion that he can do now, which is cool. Although the roll number of dice equal to the number of models needed is also very good. If you could give him an Arcane Tome for an extra cast, being able to do each of those in a turn could be a huge deal. It's a little nuclear bomb to go off. So if you're getting an additional enhancement, the Firebelly having the Arcane Tome is a cool idea. And then the Maw Pot. After territories are set up, you can set this faction turn feature wholly within your territory more than 3. So unfortunately, because it still needs to be in your territory, some deployments in some battle, what was it, not battle scrolls, battle plans will pull your Maw Pot back and keep it so that you don't have the ability really to get someone within 6 of it to refill it, which is why that battle tactic isn't great. And then Impassable, you can't move through it. Vessel of the Goblin Gods, you get +1 to casting and unbinding if you're next to it. And then Battle Broth is the same, 36-inch range, heal D3 mortal wounds, just to all your units. And then if someone's slain within 6, then you go back to being full. And then points, Scrap Launcher is 145, like I said, Iron Blasters are 170, Gluttons are 265, Stonehorns are 310, and Thunder Tusks are 270. Buccaneers are only 110, which I thought was really cheap, actually. Bloodbelt Hunter is 140, the Butcher is 135, and a Firebelly is 130. The Mantrappers are 185 for their unit. And then the Icebrow Hunter is 120, which is weird. He's more expensive than the... he's cheaper than the Blood Pelt Hunter, but he's more expensive than the Black Powder's Buccaneers. The Slaughtermaster is 135, Tyrant's 150, Frostlord and Stonehorn's 445, Frostlord and Thunder Tusk is 400, Huskard's 400, On a Stonehorn and on a Thundertusk, he's 330. Kragnus is still 720. And then Frost Sabers are 80 for 2. Nalbos are 100 for 20. Gorgers are 80 for 1. And then Icefall Yetis are 120 for 3. Guts are 270 for 4, which is spendy. And Battle Line, if you're Jones Gutbuster, Lead Belchers are 4 for 170. And Man-Eaters are 3 for 170. Morn Fang Packs are 2 for 175. And Battle Line as well, if you are a Beastclaw Raider. And then the only allies are going to be Gloomspite Gits, Aelguzzar Gargants, and Troggoth units only from the Gits. So you can't take any Gits, but you can get Troggoths and Aelguzzar Gargants. I was surprised they didn't allow in the Sons of Behemat. Although they can still take the Mercenary add-on, I thought it'd be cool to be able to take like the units and stuff as well. And that's it. So there it is, the Ogor Mawtribes. I'm excited about them. I mean, it's really just unlocking more grand strategies and kind of streamlining their core rules to fit the new edition. But it's cool to get a new hunter. I do wish they'd done a little more to, like, I don't know, just give me some resculpts. You didn't need a lot of resculpts. Instead of getting one new hunter, it would be cool to have like cool plastic Yetis or cool plastic, you know, kitties. What are they called? The Saber Tusks. They're getting to be almost 20 years old. They need some new minis, and they're still very thematic and cool. The thing I would have liked the most, though, which I thought would have been really cool, is give them a mercenary choice. They're thematically supposed to be mercenaries. If the Sons of Behemat are mercenaries, and you want to like make this army kind of fit the lore, just give me like a little Goldfags Man-Eaters kind of thing. You know what I mean? Where I can take a unit or a hero or like a specific like core battalion and take it as a mercenary in another army, make it, you know, fit that 400 point thing or be slightly over. I think it would have been a cool add-on, and I think that it's the design space that these guys should be in because they don't have any skin in the game and other you know, like sort of like grand political machinations in the Mortal Realms. I think it would be cool to give them something like that where they have a sort of like a purpose or a like thematic sort of like go out into the world kind of thing. So that's my wish list. I don't know if we'll ever see that, but I think if they do new models, it'd be cool to have a mercenary company or the ability to take these as mercenaries, not just allies in, you know, across different armies. And yeah, and let's see some resculpts. There you go. Big thanks for watching. We'll see you for more GMG reviews in the future. Ton of MASH. Gaming. Hey there, I hope you enjoyed that video. There are tons of other games already recorded for you to watch. Click over to my channel page if you haven't already, and have a look to the dozens of playlists full of videos. I guarantee you'll discover a game you haven't seen played before. I put out new videos 7 days a week, and every day is themed to a different genre as I continue to explore the wider world of gaming. Of course, none of that's possible without you, the viewer, so click a like and subscribe if you'd like to stay on top of what's happening here daily. My 2 kids and I are massively grateful to be able to have the flexibility of this job so I can always maximize my time with them. If you want to support me continuing to put out this content, it's only possible because of my amazing backers on Patreon who support the studio, equipment, and model cost, as well as being how I make the bulk of my living. You can also help out by buying a t-shirt through Spreadshirt, a measuring gauge or widget from Death Ray Designs, or buying one of my games and supplements like Last Days, Gamma Wolves, and Blaster. As a way of showing my appreciation, patrons get early access to new games and supplements that I write throughout the course of the year. Huge thanks for watching, it really does help out, and happy gaming.